Time is now. Times of change show one's real character. It was no different when my sudden departure from Spark 44, an industry-first global marketing agency joint venture with Jaguar Land Rover, was communicated to the 1,200 staff we had globally. I was the last man standing of the founding partners. Many members of my team got in touch to share their sadness and speak about the impact they felt I had made on their lives. The emails and messages I received deeply moved me and inspired me to write this book. Their statements made me realize the legacy that had been created, a unique global intercultural force of dedicated professionals who shared a common purpose and were driven to deliver. Outsiders might have thought creating a company from scratch with 19 offices and 1,200 people and $100+ million in revenue was the legacy. Insiders knew it was the way we worked together and created a new approach to how advertising agencies could collaborate across continents and cultures and create globally effective work in the most efficient way. I had always felt that I had a good relationship with my teams, but there was something in these messages that went beyond what you call a good relationship. That something was a deeper and more meaningful expression of what it had meant to be part of the team, the family we had created. It did prove that what we had built was on a substantially higher level than what is the norm. We had been able to win our people's hearts. We had been able to convince their minds. We had been able to build a company with a unique spirit. We had been able to create corporate soul. For me, this was simply the way it had to be done. It wasn't something to contemplate again and again. But whenever I talked to others about how we were operating, I learned that this wasn't the norm. One day, I shared this observation with my personal coach, Katharina Tunison. She has been in the business of coaching corporations for decades and has seen the opposite far too often. I am dealing with so many companies that would die for a corporate spirit like that which comes through all of these messages, she told me. And she encouraged me to write up how we did it. The more I looked into this topic, the more inspiring and thought-provoking cases I found. The ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle said, "A soul is the actuality of a body that has life, where life means the capacity for self-sustenance, growth, and reproduction." These three dimensions are relevant for living species and for corporations alike. Interestingly, the connection between soul and corporations has been made more often in a negative sense than in a positive one. Roland Marchand's book, Creating the Corporate Soul, published in 1998, refers to the legal positions at the turn of the 19th and 20th centuries when U.S. courts had to deal with a significant number of cases in which the term soul was used overtly. The vulnerability of the new corporate giants to the charges of soullessness emerged again and again in the titles of their wounded rebuttals. The Heart of a Soulless Corporation, Corporations and Souls, United States Steel, a corporation with a soul, puts flesh and blood into soulless corporation, refuting the old idea of the soulless corporations, and humanizing a soulless corporation. Building corporate soul is not looking at the absence of soul. It celebrates companies that have been successful at building, or in some cases, rebuilding it. At a time when purpose seems to be the flavor of the day in discussions about corporate leadership, this book aims to provide a framework for how to take purpose to a higher level, corporate soul. If you are able to build corporate soul, the rewards to your company are huge. Corporations in many sectors and cultures are taking every effort to achieve it, at every level and every day. They are united in how they ensure a solid understanding of the company's direction, and how they leverage key principles of behavior that make a difference for the thousands of people who give their very best for their company day in and day out. Introduction. The Soul Index. As I began looking at which companies have already built their unique corporate soul, I started noticing an important common thread: performance. In particular, I noticed that having corporate soul affected a company's performance for the better, it seemed. But I wanted to quantify this correlation/.